I get asked this every year to do a vlog about this. This is how I got to be an extra on A Christmas Story. Okay, if you know exactly where to look, you're going to watch the movie, and about 2 minutes and 30 seconds in, that's when, basically right around then is when the whole thing begins to happen, and that's when you'll be able to see me and my first husband. Have to do a little backstory here. I was in a show in downtown Cleveland, Ohio for almost a year and a half called Stompin' at the State. And one of our sound guys was a guy named Chuck Fleming. Very nice guy. The other thing about that show that was kind of cool was that it was a recreation of a 1940s World War II era nightclub. And so we all wore the right costumes and had the right hairdos and this, that, and the other thing. And the music was correct. It was great. One night, a group of people from a World War II reenactment society from all over the Midwest came to see the show. And later on, I was contacted by one of those members, a guy named Tom Kosicki, who actually was my first husband. So Kosicki, my first husband, he heard that they were filming a movie in downtown Cleveland, which really didn't have a name at the time, and that they were looking for extras. So he, being a World War II militaria collector, and by this time we're dating, said, hey, let's get dressed up in our gear and let's go down to Cleveland and see if we can get in and be extras in the movie. So we dressed up in World War II uniforms, went down to Cleveland, and they said, they didn't say, but we overheard from people that were walking away from all the cameras and the booms and the trailers and this, that, and the other thing, that they were not taking any people. So here's where it really gets kind of serendipitously weird. So while we were kind of wandering around in these World War II uniforms, I was just wearing the uniform and 2 sets of tights and a pair of shoes. He was in a World War II U.S. Army greatcoat, so he was not cold. I was beginning to get really cold. This was January of 1922. So while we're meandering around in these World War II uniforms, I hear somebody calling my name. Hey, Mia, Mia. And it was Chuck Fleming. So, Chuck comes up to us and says, wow, you guys look great. And he said, I don't think they're taking any extras, but I'm going to talk to one of the assistant directors. So we waited around for maybe about 5-10 minutes, and Chuck comes back with this very official looking person and takes one look at us and says, oh, you guys are great. Go to hair and makeup. So we go down to hair and makeup, and the guy that's doing the hair and the makeup, the guy that's the head of it, was a guy named Ron. Ron used to do my mother's hair. Okay, it just gets weirder and weirder and weirder. And he's like, Mia, and big hugs and this, that, and the other thing. I go into the women's side. All they basically did was sort of not even mess with my hair because I had done it correctly, because of course I'd been doing it correctly for a year and a half. But they took Kosicki over to the men's side of hair and makeup. He had a mustache, and they shaved it off. And I laughed and laughed, and oh my God, I laughed so hard when I saw him without that mustache, because I'd never seen him without a mustache. So it was getting to be dark. It's January, so it gets dark very early in Northeast Ohio. Around 5:30, it gets dark. And we had arrived about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So the first thing that they had us do was they grabbed a bunch of people, and we stood around watching this small gospel choir singing. And that's one of the scenes that you see in the very beginning of the movie, is they're singing, go tell it on the mountain. Okay, great. Then they gathered a whole bunch of people, and they said, there were about, I've heard estimates as high as 400 extras. I've heard estimates as low as 200 extras. There were a lot of people. But what was absolutely amazing about it was all the people that were the extras they had all taken them off to wardrobe, and they'd outfitted them. So the men wore the right overcoats, and the ladies wore hats, and in furs and coats and this, that, and the other thing. So everybody looked really authentic, which was super cool. It was such an awesome thing to be visually a part of. So the first thing that they had this massive group of people do was they divided us up into 5 different groups, and we were in downtown Cleveland on Public Square. And what they had us do was they had group 1, group 2, group 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they put us in different starting spots, and we were supposed to perhaps cross the street or come out of a building or go into another building. And at that time, Higbee's was a big department store. Okay, I love this story because this truly is the funniest thing that happened this whole night. And we were there for about 14, 15 hours, okay, just so you know. So they get these 5 groups of people. Everybody knows they're supposed to, group 1 is supposed to go from, point A to point B. Everybody knows that group, 2 is supposed to go from point C to point D. You got the picture, right? Crowd control. So remember, you have somewhere between 200 and as many as 400 people, okay, doing this. There were cameras everywhere. There were cameras on booms. There was cameras in front of Higbee's to get people coming in the store, going out of the store, this, that, and the other thing. So over a megaphone, one of the ADs says, ready and action, okay? So all these people start milling in their different patterns, okay, right? Now, gotta confess, everybody that I saw out of the corner of my eye, I think I was one of the few people that said, don't look at the camera, because I'd done a little bit of television work, local television work, so I knew don't look at the camera, don't look at the camera. So everybody's like rubbernecking like this. Hi, Mom. That kind of thing. When we get into our positions, and everybody was super good. There was not a lot of chitter-chattering. People weren't talking real loud. People were mostly whispering because that's one of the things they said was quiet when we got back to our positions and when we were in our start positions. So they said over the megaphone, this AD goes, okay, that was great. Everybody go back to their original positions, and this time, don't look at the camera. Okay, so we all start chuckling and laughing, and people are laughing, and they think it's really funny. So everybody goes back to their starting spots, and they go, they want us to talk about the holidays. They did want a little, extraneous chatter, so we were allowed to do that. Get back to our original positions. The AD goes, quiet, go. So we all start doing our positions, and this time, we're literally like this. Don't look at the camera. Don't look at the camera. Don't look at the camera, right? Camera's over here. For us, it was. We get back to our original positions. The AD comes back on the megaphone and goes, that was great. But this time, be natural. Talk to each other. Talk about the holidays, this, that, and the other thing. You can do this. Let's do it again. So everybody, all of these people, wander back to their original position. Now we're all kind of really laughing because it was pretty funny. And he says, the AD says, quiet, go, literally. So we all start meandering out, and this was the shot that they actually used in the movie, because that was our third and final shot. It went great. Everybody was supernatural. We were, talking to each other, talking to our partner, talking to people around, laughing, talking, that kind of thing. Great, perfect. One of the things I have to tell you, it was absolutely amazing. When we went down to become extras, we had to fill out W-2s. We got a paycheck. I believe somewhere I still have the pay stub from MGMUA, which was really kind of cool. And they fed us. They gave us a box lunch, which was absolutely astounding that they could feed 400 people. And this was in Terminal Tower, where the rapid transit comes in. That's where they had this huge commissary where they gave us box lunches. There was coffee, there was tea, there was hot cocoa. And the box lunches were really good. I mean, it wasn't like direct food. It wasn't McDonald's food. It was really good. That was fabulous. At this point, we're so tired that I do remember that Kasiki just literally slid down a wall, and I slid down a wall next to him because we were just so tired because we were on our feet. We never sat down. until we had lunch, which at some point, and I can't remember when we got fed anymore. I can't remember the time. So one of the ADs literally came up to us and said, like one of these, like, come here, come. So we followed him. And they said, you're going to be right here. And we were standing in front of the display windows at Higbee's, which is, of course, is now Dillard's. So there were maybe, I want to say, about 40 people, and the window was on the corner. So we were in the front window where the big cranes came down, and then there was the side windows, so that literally, and they were filming from the inside of the window, which was all decorated. It was decorated with old decorations that they had found basically in the attic of Higbee's and decorated. And it reminded me a great deal of my childhood, where the big deal was to go to downtown Cleveland and look at all the windows. Now, Higbee's, May Company, Halley's, that was like a really big deal. I'm trying to remember if they put us towards the front or if we managed to shuffle our way towards the front. I can't remember that anymore. But Kasicki's very tall. He's about 6'2", and at that time I was about 5'6". We called ourselves the window people, which was kind of funny. So we stood in this window, and I believe they still had crowds milling on the outside of the window, but this was like a big scene because this is the first time that Peter Billingsley's character sees the rifle in the window. When the kids come in, they were standing literally in front of me. So the 4 kids were standing in front of us. Every one of those child actors was very nice. Nobody was stuck up. Nobody was snobby. Everybody was extremely cool. So they would come and mush their way in so that they could look in the window. We filmed that window scene for 8 hours. Which, yes, 8 hours for literally this little clip. It's a lot of hard work. It really is. It is a lot of hard work because you're standing the whole time. Now, what they would do is they would say to the kids, because the kids were only on screen and in the cold for very brief periods of time, maybe 20 minutes, I'm going to say, and then they would go off to trailers that were warm, but they didn't want us to leave because they didn't want us to lose our spots and our positions. So we had to stand there. So we're joking and laughing and talking and teasing each other and carrying on. And it was great. They were great. I mean, everybody was super great. People, said, hey, it's really cold and I'm really tired. People were just fabulous. People said, oh my God, I'm cold, or I'm tired, or I'm this, or I'm that. So, but nobody really bitched, if you know what I mean. Nobody was sitting there going, like this. No, everybody was great. They filmed the scene. They had a crane that came in. And if you look at the movie, the first shot that you'll see the Dillard's window, and you'll see a very tall man in a garrison cap, which is the kind of foldable cap that soldiers, wear. So you can see the peak, the cap on top of Kasicki's head, and then the camera then comes in and you can see me. You can see my military uniform, you can see my face. I am immortal at 28. So early in the morning, we're exhausted. I was freezing because, of course, I was wearing a skirt and 2 pairs of hose, which that doesn't keep you real warm. So we leave and we go, and don't think anything more about it. Kasicki and I go to see the movie. It's playing at a great big movie theater. Remember, this is the early 80s when they still had great big movie theaters. And we go into the movie theater and there's nobody there. This is a Saturday night and there were probably 8 people in this big old movie theater, right? So we sit down and the movie begins and we start watching and we go, oh, there's the gospel choir. We were there, right? And then we see the pan and I can see Kasicki's garrison cap. And I went, oh my God. And he's like, oh my God, like this. And then when the camera angle turned around so that, it was when they were shooting inside the window towards us, were just literally sitting there going, "Oh my God, that's us! Oh my God, that's us! Oh my God! Oh my God!" I mean, literally, like two little kids. "Oh my God, that's us!" But then when the lights came up and the staff came in to, clean up all the popcorn and get people out, we said, "Please, please, please, can we just stay for the beginning again? Because we were extras in this movie and we made the final cut." So they're like, "Yeah, yeah, whatever," because it wasn't like they had these massive crowds that were going to come in and see this movie. We watched the movie again, and here are these, 28 and 31-year-old people going, "Oh my God, that's us, that's us, that's us." I mean, literally screaming like pop, like the Beatles. I was so excited. I hate saying this because it makes me sound like a real schmuck. I have to tell you guys, first of all, I feel incredibly, incredibly grateful that I had this experience. That's just astounding to me. It was, different forces that came together to create this moment where I'm immortalized on film. And that's this amazing, mind boggling thing. I will say that it's not my favorite Christmas movie. I know people absolutely adore this movie. When I first saw it, I thought, well, it's really cute and it's so cool that I'm a part of this movie. I had absolutely no idea that was going to become a Christmas classic. I had absolutely no idea it was going to be some people's all-time favorite Christmas movie that they just absolutely adore. A Christmas Story. I think it's absolutely amazing to be part of a Christmas classic. That's amazing. And the other part that's kind of cool and mind-boggling in a way is that as long as movies last, as long as you can watch this movie, however many decades that may be, how many years, maybe centuries that could possibly be, there I am in one little moment, crystallized. I'm forever 28 years old, which is really a mind zap when you think about it. I feel really blessed. This is an amazing experience. And I am so grateful to be a part of something that means so much to so many people. So that's super duper duper cool. So when you're watching A Christmas Story and it's about 2 minutes and 30 seconds into the movie, if you see that zoom down with the guy with the garrison cap on, and then the scene flips around and you see a girl in a World War II era WAC uniform, that's me. So you can say, "There's Mia, there's Mia, oh my God, there's Mia." And that's pretty cool. That's seriously cool, because I do know people that actually do that. So thanks for listening. I sure appreciate you taking the time to share this memory with me. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click subscribe. I mostly do music videos, but occasionally I do videos where I talk to you. So have a great day.